Just as the Speaker has failed the character test, you, Prime Minister, are about to fail the judgment test.
And you have to be able to hit the ball a long way, and I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards.
Here's the advice, Senator Hanson. Do you want to see it for yourself?
Is there anyone, if the White House nominates a ham sandwich, are Democrats prepared to rubber stamp Judge Ham Sandwich?
These stupid people, they'll say, he's cognitively and physically impaired.
The average person doesn't think about politics that often. It's becoming a rising trend for people to try and avoid politics because it's complicated, it's dramatic, and it's toxic. Having researched both historical and current political rhetoric, I've come to understand that the growing political divide is causing people to move further and further away from any involvement in politics. Nowadays, politics relies more on belief than actual facts, and with the introduction of social media in recent years, people can easily spread their beliefs and opinions to others. Social media allowed for easy access to a large audience, limited effort, and most importantly, allowed for incivility. These days, people scroll through political news alongside memes and social interactions with friends. Research from a recent study by the University of South Dakota showed that X was one of the main media platforms used by politicians. But all the contradiction, opinions, and beliefs going around the internet give viewers a kind of exposure that some of them find completely overwhelming. However, it's not just the overwhelming exposure to politics that has people avoiding it. It's the politicians themselves that are causing the problem. Politicians, more often than not, seek to win over the minds of voters through appealing to their desires and prejudices and attacking their opposition through logical fallacies rather than rational arguments.
First of all, our veterans and our soldiers can't stand this guy. They can't stand him. They think he's the worst commander-in-chief, if that's what you call him, that we've ever had. They can't stand him.
There's a word for people who have this sort of behavior. They're called demagogues. Demagogues are all that is wrong with modern politics. They take advantage of voters' fears and speeches and relate them to the opposition, then make false promises attempting to entice people to vote for them. Take for example Donald Trump, who nicknamed opposition leader Joe Biden Sleepy Joe in the South Dakota rally.
Now, Sleepy Joe would say the unemployment rate in the great state of Ohio. No, you're in South Carolina. Joe, you're in South. They come up with you. Ever see the guy that no, it's South Carolina. It's not Ohio. Okay. Then he goes, all right, Iowa. Did you say Iowa? No. I did that like 7 times. If I did that once, it would be the end of the road, right? Be the end of the road.
This would go on to become a massive meme during the 2024 election, hurting Joe Biden's chances at a second term. Well, what should the demagogues be doing instead? What makes a good speech? Famous Greek philosopher Aristotle taught that the speaker's ability to persuade an audience is based on how well the speaker appeals to the audience in 3 different areas that form the rhetorical triangle: logos, ethos, and pathos. Logos appeals to reason, as well as how well a writer has argued their point to the audience. Ethos appeals to the speaker's character, and can be interpreted as how credible the speaker is as a person. Pathos appeals to emotion, as well as to beliefs and values. Aristotle argued that the best speeches have a balance of all 3 areas. These speeches would be able to appeal to readers on many different levels, and persuade listeners of speakers much more effectively and ethically. Scottish thinker and writer Thomas Carlyle, in his book Heroes, Hero Worship, framed about the heroics of history, offers this piece of advice about great men. One comfort is that great men, taken up in any way, are profitable company. We cannot look, however imperfectly, upon a great man without gaining something from him. Why tell you this? Well, to highlight the difference between demagogues and great men. While demagogues claim to be heroes and leaders, we can't always, if at all, look upon them without gaining something from them. They are people who use dirty, unethical tactics to gain the support of people. They attack independent journalism and align with powerful media brands to spread their propaganda and school of thought to as many people as possible. Take, for example, Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, who holds a 14-year grip on power and is still Prime Minister to this day. Orban cracked down on foreign funding of independent media and even opposed politicians in an effort to strengthen his position ahead of the 2026 election. Or look at American President Donald Trump, who took to Twitter, now known as X, and tweeted, "The press is doing everything within their power to fight the magnificence of the phrase, 'Make America Great Again,' and they are truly the enemy of the people." Despite having the framework for respective speeches, modern political figures will more often than not twist and deform this triangle to focus on key areas. For example, American President Donald Trump uses mostly pathos and ethos, and little logos. Using demagogic rhetoric, Trump manipulates masses of American voters and sways the mob by focusing on key areas like immigration, employment, crime, and many more. He emotionally charges his audience by highlighting what his opposition does wrong, which allows him to bypass logic and arguments on what he does right. While this strategy is effective to sway voters, it also causes chaos and conflict. Firstly, the misinformation and misinterpretation of ideas spread, distort, and divide public opinion. Instead of offering a wide range of views, people are forced into opposing perspectives. Social media platforms and news stations amplify these effects, creating echo chambers where individuals are only exposed to content that conforms to their ideology. Eventually, people act out in extreme acts of violence, just like this one.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Secondly, demagogues succeed by widening the gap between left wings and right wings of politics. This widened gap also means there is less room for fence-sitters, centrists, and bipartisanship. Voters are forced to pick sides and often make individuals feel alienated by the aggressive and misleading rhetoric strategies used by politicians. While it may seem like the most effective solution, purifying the group to get rid of demagogues is hardly a simple solution. Also, as rhetoric and demagoguery focused author Patricia Roberts Miller states, it isn't even an effective solution. Removing the group causing the problem does not fix the deeper culture, and ultimately just clears the way for more demagogues. Instead, 3 important tips can be implemented to reduce demagoguery and its effects. By simply reducing our exposure to demagoguery, we reduce its impact. Being aware of what demagoguery looks like and where it comes from in media means we are less likely to consume it. In this case, avoidance is the best option to limit the impact of influence. We choose who and how we argue with others. Family and friends who repeat demagogic content are basing their assumptions on ideas and generalizations they only hear from the demagogues. Confronting them about their bias is the best way to introduce them to ethnic and political diversity. We can identify common logical fallacies used by demagogues like strawman arguments and projection. By calling out these fallacies, we encourage people to engage in more thoughtful and logical argument, and less demagoguery. It is important to note that demagoguery is inevitable. Arguments and disagreements are unavoidable and can even help spur political debate. But being able to call out their misuse and manipulation of demagogic tactics can lead to a stronger, more united culture.